It's surprisingly easy to do better products than other people. You just have to care more.
Yeah. My hand's always open. For real. Hey, 33 years, I gave that to the game.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a super sick mastermind. I'm here with my good friend and brother Sebastian. I mean, you know him from the other vlogs and videos. He's been on my channel often talking about projects that we work on together, JVs, partnerships and everything. He's basically the G who I always work with for everything, performance marketing, media buying and just scaling brands. We've had a lot of JVs and partnerships over the past couple of years. It's almost like having one company together. And basically we're in the nicest hotel. It's the most expensive hotel in Germany, the Fontenay. We have a nice mastermind today with 50 entrepreneurs. We are joined by Christian Wolf, who's one of our clients who has $1 billion brand, basically the biggest supplement brand in Germany. He just shared how he built his brand and did a successful exit, so he's with us here today. Later we are also joined by the managing directors of M&A firm like Carlsquare, of private equity banks, so it's super sick, super high level network.
No, very excited for today. I mean, we brought a very diverse audience together. Over the last couple of events we always did a heavy eCom focus. This time we have more M&A focus and of course the longevity space, which we are both very interested in. Very high level talks. I mean, the first talks were pretty awesome that we had behind the scenes, and very excited for our presentation that we're having soon, because we're talking about some of the biggest JVs we've been doing over the last years, and I think it will be great to just lift the hood and give more transparency about that.
Basically, for the projects and the clients where we see the most potential, we do JVs, we do partnerships, we do rev shares, where we basically take over everything, right? The complete marketing, the complete funnel, but obviously we can also do that for just like super limited amount of projects, and there we basically share the craziest case studies from the last couple of years. And yeah, without further ado, I would say maybe we can just get into it, talk to some of the attendees, and also you're going to see a quick interview with Christian where he shares how he built $1 billion company. Let's go.
Hey. Truck to the plane to the truck to the hotel lobby. Me, I go through underground garages, presidential suite on deposit, elevator up.
What's up, you guys? As you can see, we have the lunch break now. Carl just made a great intro today, which I wanted to pick up, because we try to bring together just people who are doing a lot of awesome stuff in their life. And if you put them together in a room with a shared agenda, you get a lot of value out of it. So the first talk we had, of course, was with Chris. He was talking about how he built a unicorn and how he is trying to live over 150 years long. Carl and I are going to share the stage talking about joint venture project that we were doing, talking about some big brands like I Am by David Beckham, One Nutrition ESN, or Coconut Beauty, which did 100 million lifetime revenue. We really broke down the strategy that we always do when we do some shared projects, which basically is, in short, we think about a strategy, come up with multiple angles, we launch different funnels for that, and we launch ads for those funnels and just watch the numbers like a hawk. This process we're going to talk about exactly how we did it in the case studies that we tried to mention. And after all, I'm very excited for the event today, and I think for everyone involved here it will be like a great addition to have a lot of stuff to work on after that and take some golden nuggets out of it.
I'm here joined by Christian, the man, the myth, the legend. I don't want to take too much away. Maybe you just want to give an introduction about yourself.
I do social media a bit. I started a company, was valued somewhat above $1 billion a few years ago. Now it's worth more. Probably gonna do like over $1 billion of revenue this year. I would say we do the best products when it comes to fat loss and muscle building. So like calorie saving products, protein powders, everything. I don't want to sound like too cocky, but I think that there's a reason as to why we do like 20x the revenue of all the other people. I would just say it like that and say products are better.
I mean, it's super interesting if you look at the German market. I mean, most of the audience is in Dubai or in the United States, Australia, everywhere around the world. But in Germany, if you're in Germany, you know about the brands More Nutrition and ESN. And I mean, now over the past couple of years and now also in the future, those brands are also expanding like into the Netherlands and other European markets. But if you're in Germany, right, you know those brands, and it's pretty interesting. Maybe you can also talk a bit about the recent acquisition you did, and also those plans about going more into the United States, for example.
Yeah, we had Chris Bumstead's company Raw join like our group. The reason behind that was like pretty easy, because like they have a strong brand positioning in the US. They have like very cool people. I mean, Chris is probably one of the coolest people when it comes to bodybuilding and like one of the most chill guys. And they wanted to become part of the group because like together we can like take our product development capabilities and production know-how, take that over to the US, and then basically like already double the asset value just by having like a new product level achieved, and also like what we know about like D2C shopping and everything when it comes to that. I mean, also for me personally, it's just like pretty cool to work together with Chris and Dom, his business partners, and like all the other people around that. It's more a merger than an acquisition. So like the cash part of the deal was the minority, but they became part of the group, and now we're gonna like join forces.
Yeah. From my perspective, I think More Nutrition had such an explosive growth over the past couple of years in Germany because you mastered two things, and correct me if I'm wrong. But the one thing is influencer marketing, and the second thing is product. Because from my perspective, it's like you almost have all of the big influencers, athletes, bodybuilders, everyone in Germany under contract that push the product to an audience to educate the audience. But then also you have a crazy retention and repeat customer rate, right? Something like 75-80% around that, which is crazy. So it's not like just a front-end product, but it's mostly driven by people coming back and buying and buying and buying again and again and again. And then it's also what you spoke about in the presentation, that it's not like one single product SKU, but it's now almost like every single day you can, during the day, use so many of those products, right? For like pre-workout, intra-workout, post-workout, for the meals, right? And so from my perspective, those are two main things that you guys mastered, which led to that explosive growth of More. But maybe you can just, from your perspective, talk about the growth story that you had in the past couple of years, and then also why it made sense for you from the perspective of More Nutrition, what you talked about in the end, to merge with ESN, to now basically almost have like a monopole in Germany.
Yeah, I think that the key part is that like we don't see product development and like influencer marketing or like marketing in general and demand creation as like two separate parts, but it's more like one interwoven thing. Because like when you understand the target demographic and you understand the influencers and the people who have knowledge in that field, then you know how to build the products for them. Then it's not like they don't have to push products. It suddenly switches to, hey, I use that stuff anyways like 20 times during my day, and I even have to like kind of like chill myself to not show it too often, because otherwise like I would just have my stories like filled with products. It's like Hormozy's concept of skill stacking, where you say, okay, if you understand marketing, you have like a level 1 skill, and if you understand like product development, then it's like another level 1 skill. But if you understand like production, product development, product quality testing, and like marketing, then it's like level 10 results suddenly. That was also the reason why we merged a few years ago with ESN, because ESN already had their own production and product quality testing lab, which nobody in Germany has. And we just took that and leveled it up a lot to like further increase the differentiation we can have in our products. And that was one of the like most massive unlocks. I mean, since then, our company has basically 10x'd since the merger.
Crazy.
not yet, but like now it's at like 8.5x.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reach 10x since then pretty soon.
So most of the people in the audience, they are pretty advanced, right? So we have people everything from like $1 million a year, 10 million a year, 20 million a year, and there's even some of them doing like 9 figures. But maybe most of the audience, I would say, do somewhere between like 5 million to 20 million a year with the e-commerce brand. From your perspective, what would be the biggest golden nuggets where you say, hey, you as a founder, you as an entrepreneur of an e-commerce brand at that growth stage, around the initial 8-figure mark per year, what should they focus on? And what should they really master also long-term to really grow that brand and grow brand value if they want to do an exit potentially one day?
I mean, in the end, it's all about customer retention. If you don't have a product that is great enough to keep most of the customers, basically if you have 80% versus 70% retention, it seems like pretty similar, but it's a big difference. When you get to a certain point, you will have problems scaling because your churn is just like way too high if you don't like keep your customers. What, for example, is very interesting to see at More Nutrition is that you would typically expect from a brand that centers around fat loss and muscle building that you have like a big January and then it drops off. And with More, it's exactly the opposite. You have a big January, but then the following months keep increasing, meaning that you obviously have the January where people want to start and they start, but then we keep them and they you have to decrease the time and effort that people get results with. So they see the first results within the first 2 to 3 weeks. They like the taste of the products, then they keep with it, and then that just basically you have a big growth spurt in the beginning of the year, then it keeps like slowly growing again, and then you have another big spur. But it always keeps like also growing during the year. And I would say just as a founder, like if you want to be like invincible as a brand, you have to master like product development, product and marketing. But it's marketing is so much easier if you master products, because you can basically advertise all day and you don't have to feel bad about it if you just have the best product. And if the product is something that itself is brand building, so if somebody buys and they feel better than before they have bought, they like you more, not less. That's basically the biggest unlock. I mean, it's like an iPhone. Like Apple, like when they introduced like new iPhones, they didn't have to say, oh, we're going to provide educational value content around IT technology in our social media department to like sell iPhones. They were just like, okay, let's build fucking great phones, and then the phone itself is like the marketing. And if you then give people the ability to communicate about the products and they gain reputation with their audience, that's, I think, one of the best things that can happen.
I think there's great lessons in there, because also when I look at our customer portfolio, the brands that really have been crushing it for the longest and continue to like rise and grow are really, really product and customer obsessed. And I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of brand owners or dropshippers that just want to make money, and then they just obsess with like marketing and ads and everything and neglect product. It's almost like they just churn front end through like new customers, and don't really focus on the existing customers or existing products to make them better or serve the customers more.
I love posting feedbacks from people that were critical in the beginning. So I, for example, love to post feedbacks pretty much daily where people say, hey, like I didn't want to buy from you because I see your product so often that I felt like overwhelmed and like kind of like angry at all the advertisement. But then it kind of got me and I tested it and now I get it. And that's, I think, like, I mean, also like when you crush products and you obviously have the proof just from feedback and from reviews and everything. And then, I mean, marketing, the best marketing is just like, hey, this is the proof that when you buy the product, what you want to happen happens. This is the proof 1,000 times. So you can buy it if you want to.
Yeah. How important would you say is a personal brand as a founder? Because I think you, over especially the past 1.5 years, like really doubled down on, for example, Instagram content. So what would you say, how important is that you as the founder of a brand having a personal brand and a big social media audience?
I think it's one of the only communication differentiation factors that you will have in the future. And I mean, you basically see it like be done by everybody. I mean, like a few years ago, you wouldn't typically have expected a CRO agency where the CEO does like personal branding on LinkedIn and YouTube. But I mean, you probably also have felt the impact of that and doing that. I mean, even for B2B, it's like you build trust way easier. And if you then have trust plus proof, and you own the communication channel, then you're pretty much independent. It's kind of obvious for me.
I mean, it's interesting still because I don't see like that many big personal brands with like brands. But it's also my hypothesis that, for example, Alvaro and Ada, similar story. Just like people nowadays, I feel like most consumers can relate more to people rather than like big brands like it was like 10, 20 years ago with like Nike, Adidas, whatever. I feel like people now, they really want that connection, right, with the founder of a brand, and really want to relate to them as a person, not only like an abstract brand like Nike or something, because it doesn't really have like a person to connect to.
And even like a friend of mine is like one of the owners of one of the biggest like crypto exchanging, like Bitpanda. They're worth like a few billions, so it's not like he has to do that. Like it's not like he has to do social media to be successful, because he already is like very successful. But even he has said like he wants to start social media because he wants to share like what they do in the company, like the insights, build like more trust around that thing. So you even see like very big companies. It's not like you only have small companies that need it to start to grow, but you also see like big companies saying, hey, this is one of the new levers to unlock like further growth potential.
Thank you so much for all of the knowledge. Is there any last words, any wisdom, any mindset that you want to share with the audience?
It's surprisingly easy to do better products than other people. You just have to care more. Pick a market where the intelligence competition isn't as high. So maybe just don't try investment banking. Like the fitness bubble was a good example.
Yeah. So to give a quick outro to this video and everything that we've learned, for me it was a super eye-opening conversation with Christian, and it basically showed me that you can really only shortcut, quote unquote, by talking to people who are far ahead from you, right? That's the best way that I found investing into coaches, talking to people who are miles ahead, right, to understand how they are doing it, right? If you're doing 10, 20, 30 million per year, how is somebody operating that's doing 100, 200, 300 million per year? Or in this case, like Christian is doing $1 billion per year, right? And that's why I like to do these events. That's the main reason that we do these events multiple times per year in Dubai, Hamburg, Munich, London, Amsterdam, Barcelona, everywhere around the world, to bring together our clients, our networks and friends to really mastermind and also be able to invite people like Christian and huge billion-dollar entrepreneurs to share their wisdom with the audience. And even for me, it's super, super interesting to learn from them. So that's what I found, right? That's why I also suggest and really recommend everyone take some money aside and invest into masterminds, invest into consultants, invest into maybe even just a certain amount of time talking to people like this, right? Every single month I'm paying between $5,000 to $10,000 for consultants in every area, right? People have a big agency, people have a big eCom brand, direct response people, right? Creative strategists, copywriters, personal trainers, right? Every single thing that I want to understand, I try to find the best in the industry and then just say, hey, can I pay you for an hour of your time, 30 minutes of your time, right? And what you're going to find is for most people, you can get an hour of their time and pick their brain for maybe $1,000, $2,000, depending on how much they do it and how booked their calendar is. Or for example, for an event like this, you can spend 3, 4, 5 grand and get an access to a high-level room of 50 entrepreneurs and to people like this. So the ROI on this is probably the best you're going to get. So I hope this video was interesting for you. If you want to understand more about like entrepreneur mindset and approach and the value of networking, then I suggest watching the podcast that I recorded with a friend of mine called Ryan Clark, who's one of the co-owners of Warrior Babe. They did over $75 million lifetime, currently scaling to 9 figures per year. Super, super interesting guys. So I will link that video down in the description and then see you soon.